All right, let's do this. As a child, the first fairy tale movie I ever seen was Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella. I fell in love with the film. Like, I would watch it non-stop. I knew every word of the movie, every dance, every musical number. Like, as a child, I fell in love so much that it became my favorite film. And at this point in time, I automatically thought Cinderella was black. And for the most part, I wanted to be her. I saw someone who looked like me fall in love with a prince and get her happy ending. That all changed when I found out that Cinderella was a Disney princess, and she has like 3 movies that I've never seen before or knew about. And upon watching the other films, I like to bring up this point to say race and skin color doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, the story of Cinderella is still Cinderella. It doesn't matter what her skin color is. The overall story is the same. The reasoning behind this realization is that someone created or retold the story of Cinderella in a way that relates to me or other minorities who enjoy the story. So with that being said, and the purpose of this video, let's break this down. Why diversity in fantasy matters. Before I begin, please bear with me. Names are hard, English is hard, and I'm dyslexic. So let me tell y'all, when I can't pronounce a name, I really don't know what I'm saying. So fair warning and apologies in advance in case I say the wrong thing. Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella, made in 1997, is a musical fantasy film directed by Robert Iskov, and written by Robert L. Friedman, and co-produced by the amazing Whitney Houston, and a remake of the original Cinderella Broadway musical by Rodgers and Hammerstein. Cinderella is a story about a girl who is mistreated by her evil stepsisters and stepfamily and kinda has a hard life. Upon crying, she is visited by her fairy godmother, who helps Cinderella to go to the ball by giving her a makeover, a beautiful dress, and glass slippers. The only catch is Cinderella has to return home by midnight or the magic fades away. So she goes to the ball, she ends up meeting the prince, they dance with each other, they kind of talk, and then the clock strikes midnight. Without Cinderella paying attention to the time, she basically runs away from the prince and leaves, but she loses one of her glass slippers. The prince ends up finding Cinderella, they fall in love and live happily ever after. Boom. In 2019, it was announced that Disney would be creating a live-action Little Mermaid movie. And everyone was on board with that until they found out that the character of Ariel would be played by Halle Bailey, a young black girl with a pretty voice, black skin, and a head full of locks. And y'all, the white people truly showed their racism towards this girl. People were definitely giving death threats to this girl just because she got casted as Ariel, a fictional character. Like, Ariel's not even real, and y'all are mad because a black woman got casted to play the part. The character of Ariel is not white or black. She's a fucking fictional fish. Mermaids don't exist, and even if they did, why the fuck would they be white? They live in the ocean. Ask yourself this question. What color are fish? I couldn't hear you in the back. What color are fish? One more time. Just fish are apparently white, obviously. The skin color of a character shouldn't matter unless race, ethnicity, or gender is the main plot of the story. Therefore, any character should just be able to just be that character. Let's relate this to Cinderella, which starred dark-skinned Brandy from the hit TV series Moesha. Also starred our dark-skinned queen Whitney Houston, who had the voice of an angel. And even the prince himself was Filipino. Like, he looks ethnic, but he also is a very fine man. Wait a minute. Bitch, is that Whoopi Goldberg? My point is, the prince of Cinderella literally had a black mother, a white father, and my boy was Asian. Like, and nobody batted an eye or said a word about it. Like, everyone just enjoyed the film for what it was. The casting of a story doesn't affect the plot. Well, the casting of Cinderella didn't affect the plot. Therefore, the story is still valid and the same. Everyone can enjoy it. Take Hairspray, the 2007 movie musical, if you will. For Hairspray, race matters in the context of the story because it drives the plot and focus of integration in the 1960s. Alright, so I'm going to do a quick rundown on Hairspray if you don't know what it is, but for lack of better words, you probably should know what it is. I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible. Hairspray is a romantic comedy musical directed by Adam Shankman? Based on the 2002 Broadway musical, it follows the story of Tracy Turnblad, a heavy-set white girl who likes to dance and fights for integration. After auditioning for a role on the Corny Collins show, she gets rejected for being overweight and put in detention for skipping class. While in detention, she meets a black character, Seaweed, and they dance together, and she realizes that not all of the black people are as bad as they seem. They're actually really good people, and they can dance together and enjoy their time. After this, they cancel Negro Day on the Corny Collins show, which is really bad because now the Negroes can't do anything and they are being oppressed simply for being black. Now, in the aftermath, Tracy and her gang of friends, they make a plan to infiltrate the Hairspray pageant and include all of the races to dance together on the Corny Collins show, basically stating that the Corny Collins show is newly integrated and that black people and white people should basically, dance together and live freely because we are all the same. It wouldn't make sense if the black characters in Hairspray were white because it defeats the purpose of the film and deletes the message the audience is supposed to take away from it. White people fighting for integration from other white people makes no sense. Therefore, the characters in Hairspray have to be black or of some other minority, mainly black, for the film to have purpose. Just like the story of Cinderella, in the case of The Little Mermaid, it doesn't matter what her skin color is because it doesn't stop the plot of the story or change anything. At the end of the day, Ariel falls in love with Prince Eric. She trades her voice for legs with Ursula. They defeat Ursula. She falls in love with the prince, and they live together happily ever after. Race has absolutely nothing to do with the plot whatsoever. The story still flows because it is the same thing. With that being said, seeing diversity in fantasy is super important for young kids and adults to see because in the real world, different races, ethnicities, and people actually exist. And since fantasy isn't technically real and has nothing to do with the plot whatsoever, it should really be good to just focus on a movie that isn't heavily dependent on race or anything like that. Personally, sometimes it's good to have a film where we don't have to focus on race at all, and Cinderella is one of those movies that did that.